William Hutchison, Armenia, Columbia Realty for Expats, and Salento, Columbia Realty. Own them both with Alba, my wife. Today's video, I just want to recap some of the things that come to mind, conversations that I've had with people, emails that I've received, maybe over about the last month. And they're becoming financially scary. They were bad enough 6 months ago. But things aren't getting any better, as the thumbnail alludes to. And who knows how much worse they're going to get. And I'll just throw out the concept of inflation. Yes, there's a little bit here, but it doesn't seem to be nearly as bad as it is in other countries, United States, Canada, Europe. It's just out of hand. And I think at some point, we all kind of go through the same cycle. It may be separated by more years or less years, but we get married, we bring up our children, maybe we have a little bit of a break after they're educated and maybe leave home. Although I don't know, in the United States now, I'm hearing a lot of children are living with their parents for quite a while. But let's assume they leave home. And then you have a bit of a break, but then in many cases, you're looking after older relatives. When they pass, and the caveat is, I know it's difficult because you're into grandchildren, you're into friends that you maybe had for 35 or 40 years, but maybe it's time to get selfish and start thinking about me and how you're going to spend your later years. I had a client call me about probably 6 or 8 weeks ago now. His social insurance check is $1,300 a month and his rent is $1,700. I mentioned this in a previous video, just kind of touched on it. He is using the equity in his home, borrowing against that to live. So here's someone that's worked most of his life, I guess, worked towards paying his house off, and now he has to use it for everyday expenses. He's $400 in the ditch every month. So, and that's just as far as his rent and his social insurance check is concerned. Some of the prices that people are paying are scary. Food prices, gasoline. Gasoline here is more than the United States if you consider the difference in income. For example, gas here is about $4 a gallon at today's exchange rate. But if you look at maybe the average wage being here of maybe 25% of what it is in the United States, the equivalent in the US would be $16 a gallon. There'd be civil war if gas ever got to be that price. But here as well, in Armenia, I can speak pretty clearly and conclusively about Armenia. You don't need a car. As far as pricing here is concerned, last year, Alba and I lived well on $802 a month. Now this year, I'm budgeting, not that I budget, I just like to keep track of our costs. I think this year is going to be $1,000 a month, near enough. Right now, we're averaging about $930 to $940, but that includes Alba paying a health insurance premium through her job that the company contributes towards. She's leaving work in another week. Will be working for me, thank goodness, because I really need the help. And we'll have to pick up the company portion of the health insurance premium. Won't add a lot to our costs, maybe about $60, but the number that we have should still be between $950 and $1,000. The other reason that it's up a little bit is we have a live-in housekeeper now. So, services and food are covering 3 people. I just think that Armenia is worth looking at. You don't have to come here. Google it. You've got my channel. You have other channels of people doing videos on Armenia. The one thing you have to be careful of is they're coming here for a few days and then talking about the city. In my opinion, the audio is of little value, but the video is valuable because it'll give you a vibe about Armenia and a bit of a feel as to what you would have if you ever decided to come here. So, in summary, the financial numbers that I'm seeing, mostly from the US, but some are from Canada and Europe, are scary. They really are. And you can have a really good life here. You can buy yourself a beautiful condo in a good barrio for $130,000 to $140,000. And after that, you would live for about $600 a month, a couple. There wouldn't be any additional. Food for a couple shouldn't be more than $250, $275 a month. You've got your services of $125 and a health insurance premium on top of that and a bit of transportation. You can go a long distance here in a taxi for $2. Health insurance premiums are next to nothing. Prescriptions, for example, Alba picks up my monthly drugs for 30 days. She goes once a month to the Sura dispensary, and my prescription for the month, today's rate is about $1.15 for each one. So I don't know what you're paying there. I had a fella send me an email last week. Needs eye drops for glaucoma. I think it's an injection, but don't quote me on that. And he pays $300 in the US for it. He bought it over the counter here for $40. And now, if he was covered with insurance, my guess is it might be that $1.12 or $1.15. Again, don't quote me on that, but it's something that can be easily investigated. Any questions you have, please send them to me. I don't really answer a lot of visa questions because I'm not knowledgeable enough. Things are changing. But we have the EPS contacts too, English speaking both. The lawyer we have worked for Congress in Bogota, fluently bilingual, and the EPS contacts are fluently bilingual as well. So with that, have a great day. I think that you need to have a look at Armenia if you're considering leaving where you're living now. And once again, I know it's hard to cut the contacts, but your later years, I think, would be more enjoyable here than maybe where you are now. Have a great day. I live in paradise, and you can too.